up guys, Emily here, and today I'm going to be going over the NOBULL Trainer Plus shoe. This we first saw a few years ago. I think it's almost been 2 years ago now. Games athletes were wearing them. So without further ado, let's dig in. So I feel like people are either crazy about NOBULL shoes or they are anti-NOBULL shoes. And you either have every single colorway they've ever released, or you have none of them. I am kind of, I think, an odd person, kind of in the middle. I don't love them, the fit and feel and function of them, but they do last a long time and they have a lot of cool colors out there. So I, of course, picked a pair of these up when they were first released. So first off, the upper is almost identical to the prior NOBULL trainer shoe, or at least their super fabric trainer. They also have a canvas, and then they're like running shoes. So there's like little ceramic dots which give it some texture. So one of the pet peeves I have with the upper, those little dots fall off, and I don't wear mine into the ground, but I know a lot of people that they fall off, and if you get a pattern shoe, it's kind of noticeable. But those are identical, pretty stiff, kind of like the prior ones, but it's very durable too. So it's seamless beyond the tongue and then the rear heel. One thing about this too, I don't know if you can see, but there's kind of some wrinkles in it. It's like a permanent crease, and pretty much all the NOBULL shoes that I've had have that. I usually wash my shoes once or twice, and it doesn't come out really. So that kind of drives me nuts because it's so visible, but the tongue is pretty improved. I like the updates to the tongue. I think they could have done a little more, but if you notice, if you've had a pair of these, you'll know the tongue is very basic. It's just a piece of suede material, but this one's padded. I could feel that. I know some people said they didn't even notice it, but the tongue is not attached to the sidewalls of the shoe, or gusseted it's called, so it's still not attached, which makes it slide sideways in the middle of a workout. It does have a little lacing loop, which helps keep it centered a little bit, but it still moves. It's a little more perforated, especially down towards the toe box, which you can see. I never had a problem with the prior shoes getting too hot, but I do think the tongue is an upgrade for sure. The lacing system is quite a bit different. That's one of the major changes. The laces are hidden now inside the upper material, so it helps from abrasions, rope climbs, things like that, where you might be rubbing the sides of your shoe on the ground, or concrete especially. I never really had a problem with the old lacing system, but the old eyelets on the shoe were metal, and I know the paint would chip off them. The top eyelet on the new NOBULL Trainer Plus, I believe, is plastic from what I can tell. So that should for sure help with the chipping of the paint on there. I don't know if they're going to be as durable, but again, it's just one eyelet. So I think the hidden lacing system is an upgrade as well. So far, I haven't had any seams rip or anything, despite how much they're pulled on, or how much. The other major upgrade I love in this shoe is the outsole. So as you can see, it's a herringbone pattern that wraps just barely over all the edges. Medial side is the most pronounced for rope climbs. Even the lateral side, it just comes up on the outside of the shoe just a few millimeters. The tongue comes up a ways too, so that's good for burpees, good rebound. And then when you're down on the ground, push-ups, burpees, anything like that, it kind of helps protect the front of the shoe there. I think the stability, the improved stability in the shoe is contributed to the outsole. I don't think the midsole being beefed up, which we'll get to, really improved the stability of the shoe. But I squatted, I think it was close to 300 pounds for back squat in these, and it felt super stable. I have horse stall mats in my gym, and it was extremely grippy. I've worn them to work, outside for walks, different things like that, and they definitely have grip, which I also think is contributed to the herringbone pattern, the outsole upgrade. So supposedly it's carbon infused. That may be contributed to the grippiness, but it for sure should make it more durable. I never really had trouble with the old ones wearing down, but over time you would see wear through it. So you can't really tell that I've worn these a whole lot as far as the outsole goes. The midsole, as you can see, is pretty thick compared to the prior midsole. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it is definitely thicker. So that is their EVA foam, and it put more cushion in it. So a lot of people said the older shoes were like stepping barefoot onto concrete. You just had no cushion or rebound from them. I'm like, I guess, a heavier athlete, you could say. So I did notice that a little bit. I don't know if lighter athletes, or if your body weight's, you know, lower, you really notice that, but I definitely did. The sock liner in this shoe is identical to the old shoe, which is fine. They didn't make any major changes, but most sock liners are pretty simple. Over time, the NOBULL lettering always wears off, and surprisingly, this one has not yet. And I feel like my older shoes, it would wear off by now, but maybe they did improve that. It doesn't feel like they did though. It feels identical. So kind of a silky material on top. No blistering. The heel comes up nicely, but no blistering with that. The lining, the foam in the heel and the ankle collar is the same thickness. I don't know if it's the same material exactly, but it's perforated, and it does feel a little tougher. So I know for sure the lining is a different material. I'm not sure if the foam is the same material, but a lot of times you would see like used NOBULL shoes for sale on Poshmark or different secondhand places, and a lot of them would have holes rubbed through the heels, but they put, it's a tougher, I can't even really describe it. It's almost like a tougher mesh for the lining of these shoes versus the softer silk material. The prior lining was more like the insole lining. The toe shape, toe box, it's identical to the prior one, as you can see. No differences there. I think they run a little narrow in the toe box, but I again have pretty wide feet. I even enjoy wearing barefoot shoes to work and for different things when you can get that toe splay. So my toes feel a little bit cramped in this. I felt it broke in nicely, and I was comfortable in it from the get-go. Even a 12-hour shift on my feet, but it just runs a bit more narrow than some. I went true to size, which I've sized a half size up in the past. I wear an 8.5 women's, and when I've gotten a 9, I've noticed the toe box room may be just a bit better, but they're too long. So I went with my normal size, and it definitely wasn't worse, but it was not any better than prior NOBULL shoes. So if you're hoping that these are wider than the last ones or you have more room in the toe box, you might be a little disappointed. 4mm drop, I believe, just like the old ones. So no change there. Although you do feel a bit more elevated than the older trainer. I kind of wonder, people have been wondering and asking if they'll keep making the old trainer or if this is the new trainer that they're coming out with. And I have a feeling it's going to be the new trainer. Over the years, we've seen them change the outsole. It used to have more of a linear pattern, and then the last one just had like the connected circular pattern. And now we have this herringbone pattern. And as they've gotten new models, they've gotten rid of the old trainer. So I don't think they're gonna keep making it, but we'll see what colorways, or if they make new colorways. So far, I don't think they've released any new colorways in the old trainer since coming out with these. Price compared to the old trainers, it's very reasonable. It was only $10 more, which surprised me because NOBULL comes out with like a new pair of runners, and usually you think they're going to be pretty pricey. They came out with their foam runner, which I haven't tried, but that was like $179. So I expected these to be closer to that $150, $59 range, like a patterned shoe that they usually sold, but it wasn't. So I was surprised with the price. I was happy with that. So going back through functionality, very stable. The stability is excellent in these shoes. They're not super flexible from the get-go. They're maybe a bit on the stiffer side, not uncomfortable out of the box, and they definitely break in pretty quick. So flexibility I think is good. Durability is superior. If you can deal with a few cosmetic issues happening, they are durable and they last a very long time. Comfort, average to just below average, I'd say. I don't think they're as comfortable as Metcons, Rad Global, Strike Movement shoes. I just don't think they are. It's, even with the beefed up midsole, I did not find them as comfortable. I do have fairly fairly flat feet and wider feet, but I still don't find them as comfortable. Weight, these weigh a little bit more than the originals. Not enough that I noticed it though. Even running, doing a few sprints, I didn't really notice it. My other favorite shoes right now that I'm wearing are the Rad Globals, Metcon 7s, and then I'm kind of testing the Tri-Base Rain 4s from Under Armour. So a few complaints with these shoes that people have had that I didn't think was that big a deal, but on a few different NOBULL pages that I'm a part of, people were like returning these shoes because of this. If you can see, you can kind of see some glue edges where the upper meets the midsole and outsole. The glue job wasn't the most perfect, I guess you could say. But I don't know if people were just more critiquing of it because it's NOBULL, or if they really were upset about it. But I know people were saying they were going to return it just from the little line of glue. And I think honestly that's worse. Like, you notice it more in these shoes because it's just one solid upper color. That's one complaint. And then the other thing that people, which I agree this doesn't look the best, is the upper where it's cut and comes together for the tongue. The edge is very raw. It's like the super fabric basically just got cut off and not finished, which I think they could have trimmed that nicely. But you can even see I have some threads coming out of that edge, which it doesn't look great, but it doesn't, I guess it didn't bother me that much. So hopefully, NOBULL comes out with some fun colorways. I know this is a highly sought after colorway. It was the Cyber Monday. So on Black Friday, just so everyone knows this, on Black Friday, NOBULL releases their all black, and I think sometimes all white shoes every year. Same thing, same shoes, they just put them back up for sale, and they always sell out. So we'll see if they do the new trainer or the older trainer. And then the other thing is they get people to buy their shoes on Black Friday because it's this annual special release. And then on Monday, they release all these fun colors for Cyber Monday. And the first year I was a part of it, or realized it, was in 2018. And I got these shoes. And I cannot remember the colorway name, but they're very popular. I didn't realize how popular they would become when I first got them, but I just thought it was a fun colorway. So one of the problems with the old shoes as well is, the older shoes is the heel, the foam in the heel. Now that I have both out side by side, it's definitely thinner in the older models, and that foam actually folded down. So it's like I stepped on the back of my shoes and can't get it popped back out, but it's underneath the liner, which I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it, but it's kind of uncomfortable. And unfortunately, it happened in this colorway, but I'm still keeping them even though that happened. Comparing the ceramic dots or the texture on the upper with the new and the old, I'll be honest, at first I thought it was like identical, but literally right now I have them side by side. The newer one is much bumpier, which I did not notice at first. The older one is smoother and the newer one is bumpier. And actually the newer little ceramic dots are further apart and a little smaller. Yeah, that is definite. I will try to add some pictures that kind of display that change too. So here I was saying there's people that just own every colorway, and I have quite a few. But the rubber duckies restocked, so I had to get a pair, but I have not worn them. All right, any questions or comments about the new NOBULL Trainer Plus, or even the older NOBULL trainers or the runners? I own all but one type of NOBULL shoe. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what your questions are. I'll see if I can answer them. If not, I can probably figure out someone who can and get some information back to you. You can buy these now on the NOBULL website. They just released 2 new colors of the NOBULL Trainer Plus, kind of a pink and then a green color. They look pretty cool. But I did hear from someone that's fairly reliable that the new spring floral shoes that NOBULL does every year will be coming out in about 2 to 3 weeks. So I personally am going to wait and see if any of those colors appeal to me and maybe get a pair of those. So thanks for watching. Subscribe and like, and we'll catch you in the next one.